Hello, hello, hello. Monday night.
We're live. What do you know? It's Monday Night Sketchy.
It is.
You've made it to the fun house. We are so excited. We have a special guest that we're going to talk to in a smidge. Howard Pierpont is with us.
Woo!
And the crowd goes wild. Howard Pierpont, yes. We actually was an earlier guest, one of our first podcast guests, actually, when we were trying to call it the 51.
Yes.
We've now ditched that idea, and it's just Sketchy Live, the podcast. So, but you made it. It's Monday night. It is Sketchy Live. We got so much to talk about, right?
Yes, we do.
Itty B, Johnny Jalopy, Howard Pierpont. We'll see you in a smidge.
Oh, no. And we are back.
Can you believe it? Sketchy Live with a podcast. We are back with Howard Pierpont.
Yes. We're super excited to talk to Howard. We always love talking to Howard. He comes into town every now and again and says, hey, do you guys have time for me? And of course, yes, we always do, because he is the most interesting person and has been around and has seen so many things and done so many things. So welcome.
First
Howard
question,
Pierpont.
Howard. What's the weather like in Minneapolis, Texas?
The weather right now in Minneapolis, Texas is 59 degrees.
59 degrees.
Oh, so he knows. He's not even there, but he knows. That's so funny.
Yeah. Hey, we got so much to talk about. So we're going to talk to Howard. If you get an opportunity, head back through our old YouTube podcast episodes, and you'll hear some very interesting stuff about Howard. We're going to touch a little bit on the kind of like a recap a little bit, but I really suggest going back and watch those older episodes. Very, very interesting things that have happened in your life and things that you've done and what you do as a job, which we're going to talk about that. And we plan to talk about much, much more. And so before we get to that, Itty B, who's on the broadcast?
Right now, we have about 28 people tuning in, which is great. So we appreciate all of you being here with us. We are looking at Jeff Coley joining us from Facebook tonight.
Nice.
We've got Diane Kinnery joining us. Hi, guys. Good to see you. We've got Cameron McNulty all the way from Wyoming. We just sent Cam home on Saturday.
We did. We had enough of her. Get out. No,
she misses us and she's tuning back in. So we love you.
Very exciting.
Jim Pollan. Hello, everyone. Good to see Howard is in the house.
Jim Pollan. We were just talking about him and his super cool project he's working on right now.
Absolutely.
Hobo's Hot Rod Garage, Horseheads, New York, custom bead rolling for sure.
Get ready, Jim. We're going to talk about you.
We are going to talk about you, Jim. Lizzie Daughtry joining us. Hello, everyone. Welcome, Lizzie.
There's a ride or die.
She is. We've got Hal Schaefer. I'll tell you.
Nice.
Real deal. How about it? Carburetor Man has joined.
I think he's got the longest intro.
He does.
Yeah, I think he's. Yeah.
Chris Smolinski's joining us.
Nice.
Hello.
What's up, Chris?
Lizzie's giving us her youtube.com Ms. Butterfree34. Head on over to her site. Check
Get
out
yourself
her
some Butterfrees.
She's got some really cool resin jewelry and
she does have cool
things
stuff
over there. So go check it out. We've got 40 Mamba joining us. Hello, guys. And
what
that's
is up?
From YouTube. We are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube, guys. So
for sure.
Both platforms. Yep. Diane Kinnery said we had a 50-degree day. It was so nice. See, to us over here in Florida, that's a little chilly, but warm for you.
Howard was just showing us pictures of the a couple days
shoveling.
ago. Holy cow, like 4 feet of snow.
Yeah.
No, thanks.
We've got Brian and Lisa McCoy in the house.
Customs.
Hello from the McCoys. We're going to be talking about you guys too.
Yeah.
Mr. Dana Baldwin joining
us. No topic
us.
untouched.
Jay Newby will be seeing you next week up at Honorama in Detroit. Buddy Johnston's joining us. Hello. George the Glass Man is 40 Mamba.
Nice.
Chris Smolinski joining us from Detroit. We'll be there next week.
Yep.
Richard Hahn, hope to see you in Detroit again. Yes, we will be there bright and early Wednesday morning, getting ready for setup and helping the guys out. Bo Van Gogh is joining us. Dave, hello from rainy SoCal. We've got Scott Ferguson from Ferg's Rod Shop. Hey, y'all. Danny Williams joining us. Mike Hicks joining us. Hicks. See you soon. I think we're going to be Sellies in Detroit. Oh, my goodness. The Fight Masters are joining us. Tanya. We've got Ralph Pops Sanchez.
Yes.
59 and clear in San Antonio, Texas. And Ronnie Ogas.
What
you guys need to move out here to sunny California. I was out at the beach in my car yesterday getting my tan on.
Nice.
We will be soon. Okay.
Sweet. And nothing's not even convertible, so that's scary.
That's catching us up a bit. So we've got some viewership.
Hey, so what's
tonight.
really cool is I don't know if anybody noticed here on the podcast, but there were people chiming in with where they're from.
Yes.
And what the weather's like. And you all.
And who started that?
This gentleman right here was the very first person on Sketchy back when it was even Monster Mondays, I think.
Maybe.
But we called it Sketchy Live. And Howard Pierpont was one of the first people to chime in and say, hey, it's Howard.
He was in Greeley, Colorado.
It's 2 degrees in Greeley, Colorado. And every Monday.
Always cold in Greeley, Colorado.
Monday after Monday after Monday, it was like, does it ever not be 2 degrees? Thus he moved to Texas.
Yes, I was just going to say his travels have taken him elsewhere, so he is in Texas now.
For sure.
Howard, you are
on the spot.
You are a solutionist. Tell us what that means.
Well, there's an old proverb that says, I wasn't here when the tree was planted.
Right.
And I won't be here to sit in the shade of the tree. But I want to nurture that tree.
Oh.
And there are so many situations where you can say, what can we do to make things better? How can we nurture that tree, that situation, that family, that business? And there is no one solution. I don't ever come and talk to people about this is the only way to do it.
Right.
There are plenty of ways to do things. And depending upon your individual situation, one of them may work for you, or you may just think about it. I'll go away. And success for me is to have you wake up in the middle of the night and go, oh, what if we try this? And you try it and it works.
That's great. And you've built a business on helping people this way.
Yeah.
Very cool. I understand your website is in progress, but right now, Howard.Solutions, you've got some information on there, things you've done, and books that you have co-authored, actually. And we have a few of them here that I want to show you.
Look at ADB jumping right into the promotion. Good job.
I am.
Go right at yours.
Okay, so we've got resilience, turning your setback into a comeback, and there's Howard's picture right there.
He's not the blonde. He's right. Yeah.
So
thank you.
And then also this one, don't quit. Stories of persistence, courage, and faith.
Awesome.
And there's Howard again.
There he is.
So definitely inspirational stuff. And I know you have given us some very great ideas for our business. You've been super helpful.
Many suggestions.
Yes.
I will definitely say it's not been, hey, you know what you guys should do? This is what you should do. Here's something to do. It's always been, have you thought about this? How's this going?
Right.
What are you doing here? Have you? And then it makes us think and go, wow, maybe we need to think about
think about that. And honestly, I mean, we've had so many people along the way give little tidbits of things that we can do better. I mean, and that's how businesses grow. And like you said, I think the fulfillment for you comes in, hey, somebody listens to that idea and implements it, and you see the fruit of it. And I would imagine it's just years of experience and all the different things you've helped people with that you're bringing with you, and then training. I know you said you came out of a couple weeks of training.
Yep.
What was the training that you were here for?
I was with the Christian Disaster Relief Organization out of Winter Haven.
Okay.
And they're and by invitation worldwide feeding and lodging operation.
Wow.
All volunteers.
In an area where, when hurricane seasons are
Majorly
hit,
needed.
and we've, over the course of the last few years, had some pretty big areas that have been hit and are still recovering for stuff. I'm assuming that those folks have probably been a big part of the recovery there too. Yeah.
I met with the Red Cross this afternoon.
Oh, wow.
They still have folks from Ian and then from last year.
Wow.
They have people still in housing that are in need that can't come back.
And so in those conversations with, say, the Red Cross, are they just picking your brain of like, hey, we've been coming across this particular thing? Any suggestions on how we could fix that, or is it more along the lines of you're like, hey, what can I do to help you?
Well, it's a more of an open discussion about how things are going, what's going on.
Okay.
And one never knows what direction things might go in. I mean, today's meeting was not a planned meeting, but it turned out to be quite a nice one.
Yeah.
When I was here the last time, I was driving back up through Buffalo, Oklahoma. And the insurance agent in town has where the Buffalo Roam license plate.
Okay.
And I finally found the one restaurant in town, but everybody knows where it is because all the windows are covered over to keep the heat.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I'm sitting at a table by myself, and this fellow walks in with a large cowboy hat on and goes, "Where's my taters?" Excuse me? Where's my taters? I said, you talking to me? Where's my taters? I said, why do you think I have any taters? He goes, because I know what car you're driving. That's how small a town it is. And I had an Idaho car. So we sat there for an hour and talked about
that's awesome
things.
Wow.
And it turned out that in the previous 3 years, he had 2 wild game grass fires that only happen once in a lifetime. And he'd lost some of his herd. He'd lost some of the buildings.
Wow.
So we talked about some of the things that he had seen and some of the assurances he'd been given, some of the things he'd worked on, and we talked about some other possibilities to go through. So you never know where it's going to come from.
No.
So you're just taking those conversations, banking what the gentleman shared as far as things he's gone through, and that kind of just feeds into possibilities of other solutions, even though it may not be another say company that's dealing with a brush fire of some sort that wipes out half of a gentleman's business, but how that gentleman responded and worked through it is something you might be able to suggest. Hey, have you thought about this type of mindset? Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Somebody asked me the other day who my mentor was. And I have some mentors, including you.
Oh.
But,
Howard, you're in trouble.
But reality is, life is my mentor because I watch what people do and I pay attention to what they do. And if they fail at doing something, or it's not, I should say it's not successful, I don't need to go do the same thing.
Right.
To be successful.
Right.
But if they're successful, I can pattern after what they're doing.
Right.
And be able to work forward. And if I can build on those items, so just keeping your eyes open, looking around at what's going on.
Being
for
aware.
sure. There's people that I've come across with and have been very inspirational, where the way they handle people, the way they talk to people and the way they handle situations. Those are the things I've learned from the most. Is like you're saying, I've watched people blow up and get mad and throw things. And it's like that never gets anywhere. But I watched, I had a gentleman that I used to work for when I was working this big retail electronics company, who I watched the way he handled people, and he was never about holding people necessarily accountable, but he would challenge. Like for myself, I might have shared this story, but he challenged me to speak to somebody that was way higher as far as in the leadership roles. And he's like, hey, this guy's not doing something right, and I want you to go talk to him. And I'm like, me? Why would he listen to me? And what was amazing is it was a great lesson, because I was like, I'm being challenged to do something that's way out of my comfort zone. But at the end of the day, the person I spoke to was like way more open to it because it wasn't like somebody above him was coming down on him. It was just somebody saying, "Hey, man, you doing okay? You know, I saw you make this little thing you're struggling with, and that's not you." And he took that way better. But I was after that, I was like, I can talk to anybody.
You can.
Yeah, it's really cool. So
And
that's the type of stuff you're talking about, right?
Right.
Yeah,
I was in Portland, Oregon, getting ready to fly to New York City. And I'm listening to what's going on. And up at the counter, they went, they've changed planes and we're overbooked by 7. So I walked up to the counter and said, you know, I'm not in any particular hurry today. So if you need to move me off the plane, that's okay. And they said, all right. 2 minutes later, they called me. I went up and they said, go across the aisle, go see this fellow. And I was inadvertently booked on first class.
Nice.
from Portland to San Francisco.
Wow.
I did a full meal and wine
Wow.
all the way to New York first class. Only because I said, you have a problem?
Yeah.
I'll help you with it.
Yeah.
I didn't say, if you could fly me someplace first class.
Listen,
Right.
do you understand?
You didn't make demands.
Yeah.
No, and I think really people skills is not something generally people can learn. Like you either are good at it or you're not. I think it's an innate thing. I mean, I think you can learn how to communicate with people, but I think really bonding with people and like you said, just noticing things about people, I think that's just something that's you're born with. You either know how to do it or you don't. It's not really something.
It's definitely like in my retail experience. That's being working with people is not a skill set you can specifically teach, but you can definitely start working on mindset changes so that they can become open to looking at things a little bit differently. And then what you're hoping is that they can then replicate. You know, maybe being a little more empathetic. Maybe being a little, like you said, a little more solution thinking
Minded,
versus no, yes, or yes, no type stuff. So yeah, pretty cool.
Well, to take an employee aside after an incident, positive or negative, and say, you know, there's a couple different ways we could handle this. And you're not pointing fingers at them.
Right.
You're just saying, you know, let's consider how we might be able to do this in this fashion or that fashion. And, you know, words mean a lot. And somebody posted the other day that one of the problems with losing a loved one is that long after you've forgotten their voice, you remember their words.
Right.
Well, that's true in all situations. It's not just with family.
Yeah.
You know, it's the way you're treated when you go to a retail store. It's the way somebody else treats you as you're walking in the door from someplace. It's how you're greeted.
I've done studies biblically on the power of the tongue, and words can really make a difference for people, good or bad. It can have really bad effects sometimes for people if you say the wrong thing. So hugely important. And you've made a business out of doing this and talking to people. So that's been fantastic. I wanted to talk about relationships and the relationships that you have built with some of the people that are on our broadcast tonight, actually. So I know you've spent some time with the McCoys, Brian and Lisa McCoy, who live in Maurice, Louisiana. But they have been followers of the broadcast for quite some time. They've become friends. We've had them on the broadcast here. We're dying to get out there to see them as well. So tell us a little bit about your time with them, because you've spent some special time with them.
Oh, they're such a wonderful couple in such a wonderful place, and true Southern Louisiana hospitality.
Yeah.
And such a great, absolutely wonderful sense of humor. They have the Bayou Self campground.
Oh,
Bayou Self. That reminds like F Troop.
Which is actually out in their side yard.
yeah.
That's awesome.
And he has vehicles tucked in amongst the trees.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know if I knew that. I knew he had the garage, and I know he works for a place.
Works for Southern.
Yeah.
For Southern, and does some amazing things. And if you get a chance to follow Brian, and Lisa, you'll see some of the stuff that he does.
Yeah, for sure. You definitely want to follow the Kuyan Customs over there by
Yeah.
Lisa McCoy. They occasionally have a lake in the back of their property as well.
Yep.
Sometimes. Here's what I'll
When
say.
it rains.
What I will say about those folks, and I agree with you, Howard, is like through some pretty adverse situations that they dealt with on their own personal property, where there for a while, some of the storm times, like it was like every other weekend they were flooded out, and they would just kind of go, well, this is part of what we do, and they'd make a joke about it, and they'd move. And I'm sure there are moments in times where it was not easy, where you felt like, God, how many more times can we take this? But it just seemed like they didn't let it get to them. That's where I really want to go spend time and talk to them, because it's like, let's really see what's really going on over there. No, just kidding.
All the projects.
But they always seem very, very happy people, and always very, yeah, go ahead, babe. Sorry to cut you
I
off.
was just going to say all the projects. And in fact, you had donated to them the truck. What year was that truck?
It was a 91 Ford Ranger with 300,000 miles on it.
Yep. Which is awesome.
And I didn't get to see the final picture. I think you were looking for it earlier.
Brian continually keeps adding things and making things, and it's a very cool little he's turned it into something fun for sure. But as projects go, you're never done. See, that's the part you got to keep remembering, is that there's always stuff to add and do and change. You would think as many paint jobs as you've seen Raquel have over the course of the years. You're always like, that's maybe a better flavor, different would be fun for sure.
But they're also big supporters of the show.
Yes.
Jim, Luigi Lugnuts.
Oh my goodness.
Luigi's amazing.
As a matter of fact, Luigi did a Rebel Ranger.
Yes.
That's in my house.
Yeah, he does. He does amazing art. We have so many talented people that follow us and come on and stuff like that. It's weird to call them fans, more supporters. Definitely the army, the Jalopy army. But yeah, Jim Pollen has done some really cool stuff for me for my project, and I was so amazed what he was able to do for me, and was like, hey man, thanks for asking me to do something on it. And I was like, are you kidding me? To get some of your artwork on my car would be amazing. And something you were sharing with us is in the beginnings of Hobo's Hot Rod Garage is you were one of the first people that got a bead rolled piece from him.
One of the early ones.
Yeah.
Present from my grandson who's in the Marines.
That's too cool.
Jim captured it and managed to get it.
That was the one with the boots and right? Was it a bead rolled, like a boot with a?
It's been a while.
I'm trying to remember how it was really early on though. Yeah.
Right now it's in Japan.
Oh,
how neat.
It's all over the world.
He just made staff sergeant.
Oh, nice.
1st of February.
Super cool. Well, congratulations on that.
But Brian and Lisa are also big supporters of Ian and Jamie.
Yes.
For sure.
Which is, I believe, how you found us.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
yeah, in the early days.
Found him.
The early days.
I'm just along for the ride.
You've been more than along for the ride. That's not true.
Well, if you're watching Ian and Jamie and you see them pan around the room, you'll see a Colorado license plate.
Yes.
800002.
Okay.
And there's a fun story behind that one.
Oh, do tell.
I gifted that to them.
Oh, nice.
Many years ago, the Secret Service walked into the Washington, D.C. office for motor vehicles and said, we need a set of license plates. So the next set in the pile was 800002. And they said, okay, now we need 25 more. All the same. And the clerk said, we can't do that. That's against the rules. And they went, we're the Secret Service.
We can do whatever we want.
And they did get them. And that particular number set runs in most motorcades 3 or 4 times so that you can't tell who's in which vehicle.
Okay.
It's not their direct identifier.
Gotcha.
And if they're flying a car from here to California, they may very well throw a set of plates on there. Well, Colorado didn't realize that that's what the numbers were. So I went in and ordered them.
Oh, they're like, sure.
Sure, no
We made
problem.
73 other ones for the Secret Service. Why not one more?
So I had that one on the
That's awesome.
my vehicles for a while.
Oh
And,
boy.
Too cool.
Figured I'd send one out there and see if maybe he'd acknowledge it. Well, not only did he acknowledge it, he went ahead and put it up on the.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
that's
So
cool.
cool.
But he's got a number of things here.
Yeah, he's got lots of cool little things. People are sending him goodies all the time. Well, we get stuff sent to us all the time. In
We
fact,
do.
right behind us, a recent acquisition of a really cool thing that Howard sent us.
Yes.
And of course, horrible people as we are,
We've been sitting on this for a week.
yeah, we've had it for a little bit of time and set it aside. And not only did we not acknowledge that we got it to Howard, didn't message him and say thank you. Yet he still showed up today.
He
And I'm
did.
wondering if it's because he's like, I'm going to get that damn
He's-
thank you. No, I'm just kidding.
Either that or he's like, did they really get it?
So there it is. Can you what is this from? Is this off of something or from something?
Well, it's from. I live in Wood County.
Okay. Are you going to get in trouble that we're showing this?
Probably.
Okay.
No. I live on U.S. Highway 69. in
Okay.
Wood County, which I understand you were born in.
That's
that.
my birthday, yes.
Yes.
So we've got two things. I believe I sent you a picture before.
Right.
And I was out the other day and happened to go by the county garage and stopped in and said, "Do you have anything that says Wood County on it?" And they went, "Well, we don't know." And it turned out that this sign was made and it was incorrect.
Okay.
So the font's wrong, the backing's wrong, there are a number of things for Wood County. So
Perfect.
It was rejected by the county.
Oh,
And it was sitting over at the edge of the barn and they kept kicking it. And I said, "Have you got anything?" And they went, "Oh yeah, you could have this." And he passed it in through
nice.
through the doorway.
So we are now going to be playing 6325 boxed and straight,
What is that on?
the lottery,
Oh, lottery. Like I don't
because it's from the side.
I don't even play the lottery. So, so Howard, thank you so much for
Yes,
this really
thank
cool
you.
gift. I not only did Howard send me that, but he also sent me some really cool Dolly artwork that is up in my studio that I love looking at every single day. You've gifted us many, many things,
Yes.
and have been such an amazing supporter over the years. And again, if I hadn't thanked you personally, let me thank you publicly on this. That will live in infamy. Thank you so much
Being
for
recorded.
always being so supportive of us. And again, all the things that we will get little mystery gifts here and there. Of things like, try this, maybe that'll work, or again, solutions, trying to help us with different situations. And but things like this is just really cool. And again, I apologize we didn't
Oh, no problem.
give you a thank you before that.
When I saw this, I said, "Okay, it's not the house number, but by the same token, we can't just go ahead and nail it to the front of the garage."
Right.
But it's a Wood County. Well, all the counties in Texas have different road designations,
Okay.
and this one happens to be for a private road,
Okay.
which means it's an acknowledged way, but the county doesn't have anything to do with it.
Gotcha.
We have FMs, the farm to market roads. We have the U.S. highways, the state highways, and things like that. So this one was made up special for the people that happen to live on that particular numbered road. When it came in, it was wrong. But I thought that you might be able to use it somehow, cut it up into little pieces.
Oh, no way. I love how it is already.
Maybe it's a piece of floorboard for one of your projects.
It's just it's
or
cool
some
just to
other
have.
It
Or
is.
some other artwork.
I mean, look at there's 6 and then a 5 and a 5. 3 and 2, 5,
Oh,
and another 5.
okay.
And then if you take 2 from 3 is 6, and then you add one more, and then
Okay,
if you,
Taylor Swift.
No, I was doing that where you can make anything into the same any number you want. If you take the 5, remove the 2, add 3 more,
Multiply
take
it by
away
17.
but 7 more. Anyways, hey, what are people saying? Let's get to some of the
Yes.
comments because we've got a few here.
We do. Luke Cork is joining us. That's a new name
Yes,
on the
welcome, Luke.
broadcast. Welcome. Ralph says a little under the weather tonight, won't be on long. Love the show.
Feel good, man. Feel better.
John Kohler said, hi guys, love your art.
Thank you, my friend.
We've got Dalton Prince joining us. Hello. Frank
What's up, Dalton?
Pupello watching from YouTube, watching Sketchy live from
Frank
the
Pupello.
grandstands at Daytona International Speedway.
Oh yeah.
What is going on over there?
The Daytona 500.
Oh, racing already?
just
Okay.
the biggest race in the world.
I didn't know it had started already.
That race got rained out.
Yeah, she lives in
did it?
Florida too, Howard. She doesn't know
I
what
was
the
here when
Daytona
it
500
rained.
is.
Yes, I understand the rain.
But the Xfinity race is
Yeah.
going to be on an hour. I was watching the first half of the race before I came over,
Oh.
but the Xfinity race is probably on now.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're probably
okay.
racing right now
So
as we
there's
speak.
something going on now. Yeah, we finally get a break from football. Now we got racing to contend with
Hey.
on Monday night.
We can't catch a break.
Can't catch a break. Philip Pearson joining us. What an awesome
Hey,
show
what's up, Phil?
tonight. Thank you, Phil. Mary Evans. Hi, guys. The Evans here. Dan and Mary
Their
Evans.
friends are very good.
They're finally in
Fellowshippers.
town. Ryan Risher joining us from YouTube. Hey, guys.
Ryan,
We've got Matt Williams joining us. Hello, Johnny,
Matty,
Itty and
what's up?
Howard. Tracy Courtville is joining us, our buddy Tracy. Hello,
What's up,
my
Tracy?
friends. Please say a prayer for me. I finally lost the 70 pounds they wanted, so now I'm having both knees replaced. Hello to Howard.
way to go, buddy.
It's a great day, Tracy.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
We've got Uncle Larry Crawford, Lawrence Crawford.
Uncle Larry, there's a guy. There's the light. That's my buddy there.
I know.
Uncle Larry.
We'll see you Wednesday.
Yes.
We're excited.
Well, not this Wednesday, but
Next Wednesday. Shaggy LeBlanc.
Mr. LeBlanc.
He is joining us as well. Uncle Larry said, stay calm, stay positive. You get more done.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
There is a guy. If there are some of you would be, I would love for you to meet Howard. This guy, Lawrence Crawford. Holy cow! We call him Uncle Larry. Just always trying to be positive. There are times where poop is coming at him, and he just works himself through it. And at the end of the day,
Spreads light.
But what's awesome is I'll be sitting at work, 8:30 in the morning, and I'll get a text and I'll get a, hey man, how you doing? Hope you're doing good. Have a great day. And just so I've now tried to start shooting messages back to him, and I think I forget the time difference, but sorry, Larry. But he's just a positive guy who continues to just try
There's
to be
no time
positive. So
difference
it's just
with Detroit.
awesome. It does,
Detroit is in our time.
it's
zone.
awesome. It's awesome.
It's the same time.
Whatever, man. I know Guam is part of the United States. Do you want to go there?
Jim Pollan said Pierpont Marine logo.
Yes.
That's what it was, the bead roll.
Okay, yes.
Craig Sherman joining us. Hi, guys, from Craig and the Cacho Customs
Cacho
crew.
Customs, that's right.
Nice.
For sure. Super good work over there.
We've got Hank D joining us, our wonderful Hank D.
Hank D.
Check out our website. Hank D designed that website, johnnyjalopy.com. Go check it out.
Oh, there's a plug.
It is. And Hank D, also innovator of some very cool things over on his own page.
Yes.
So check him out at Hank D.
Hank Dizzle.
Lizzie Daughtry said it's on now. The racing is on now.
Right.
We've got Nicole Ferguson joining us. We will see you, Miss, next week as well. Uncle Larry says hello, family.
For sure.
So getting back to the license plates, you are a license plate collector, would you say?
Collector, trader. I'll sell some.
How many license plates do you think you have? Is it one of those shipping containers you said
he
you
had
had?
3 shipping containers that he had to find space for. I'm
probably down to 1,500 at the moment.
Oh,
Really?
Only 1,500.
1,500.
And what started you collecting those?
Well, I grew up in a house with only one car,
Yep.
and license plates were really precious.
Right.
Back there was a time, long before you were around, the two of you, that we used to have tabs that we put on the license plates.
Okay.
And when your plate expired, you'd get a new tab, and you'd have to take the old tab off, put the new one on. Well, somewhere, and my father never explained it to me, somewhere along the line, someone must have stolen the tabs out of the license plate.
Oh.
So my job on New Year's Eve, because our plates expired at the end of December, was to go out and put the new tabs onto the license plates.
Was it a sticker?
No, it was a piece of metal with 3 prongs,
Really?
and they went through the plate,
Oh.
and then you bent them over on the
Hmm.
back side.
Huh.
Different states did it different ways.
Yeah.
Some added a little corner piece that you bolted on with the license plate and whatnot. So it started there,
Huh.
and I just was fascinated by plates. And of course, when you're driving in the car and you and your sister are trying to behave themselves, you play the license plate game and see how many different states you can come up with.
Right.
Yep, I remember doing that as a kid too.
Can't count trucks because those don't count. Try to see
Oh.
if you get to the first 50.
Okay.
Oh.
Fun.
But I have a 50 state run of passenger plates and another 50 state run of dealer plates, and I'm working on what they call a birth year run,
Wow.
which are all plates from 1951.
Wow.
Huh.
Okay.
1951. That's a
Yeah, that's a cool
good year
number.
for us. A lot of our stuff is 51.
We do
too.
have quite a few 51 things.
Yes,
we
we
do.
do.
Over the course of the years.
So you're just collecting them. You're not building things out of them. Like a lot of people will build things out of them.
There's a whole craft
Yes.
group. There's a fellow over in Clearwater Beach that actually has a setup at the pier for 5 hours a day, 7 days a week, and will do custom signs and has his own made. And I have sold him some plates.
Oh.
Typically, when plates are removed from vehicles, sometimes they're absolutely pristine, and other times the corner's bent. Or
Yeah.
Right. Or folds in them or something.
But the rest of it's good.
Yeah.
And the plate crafters will cut them, or they'll make birdhouses,
Yeah.
Right.
roofs, and stuff
Yeah.
like that out of them.
Well, Bob McLaren, that's what he does.
Yeah, he makes little signs and stuff out of different pieces
Yeah.
of plates. But I got to imagine there's a little bit of rivalry between the collectors and the guys that are cutting plates up. You're like, you're taking away plates.
Well,
That could have been a good plate.
there are some counties that are really small counties,
Right.
or there are plates that are hard to find
Right.
because there just weren't many issued at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Saline County, Kansas, in the early 70s, the Air Force Base went out of business. And the tag office was run by a very physically conservative individual.
Okay.
So they didn't buy a lot of plates.
Mm.
So you can't find a lot of 1971 Saline County plates.
Wow.
So those are, but you go to Wichita or you go up to Kansas City, they're there by the thousands.
Of course, now a lot of states now are starting to do where they're all sticker, right? Where it's just a flat piece of steel and they're just putting sticker
That's
numbers
what we have. Yeah.
and letters. It's not embossed like it used to be. Does that change? I mean, does that make them less valuable, or those not things you're even looking as collecting?
They have different values. Now in Texas, the Texas flats, it's difficult to get $1 a piece for them.
Okay.
Because they're everywhere. But in other places, here in Florida, there are good plates, and it also depends upon what it says on the plate.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Sometimes it's a surprise letter number combination. I think you know a little bit about that.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
little bit of itty B. How crazy is it that you
my,
had that your plate and then
my plate
custom
was
made it.
before my name. My plate is the reason for my name. I didn't
thought-
customize it. It was
I
like
thought
that.
You got the plate after.
No,
No, that's
no.
weird.
Mr. Dana Baldwin said, looked at Howard's website. I'm Intel alumni too. 2004 to 2015 in Chandler. I was a DBA.
Okay.
Yeah. Dan Evans said,
Cool.
I used to collect license plates. I had over 2,000, but I gave them up when I sold my house in Colorado. I have a few surviving enamel plates from 1912 to 1915.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Dan, Howard lived in Colorado. I wonder if he has your plates.
No, I know I don't have his plates.
Wouldn't that be funny? Oh, I sold to some guy that was collecting them, and
Yeah,
then it
wouldn't that
wound
be
up being
crazy?
Howard. I know.
If that was the case, where one of the
And there
in the
are-
travels though,
There are
it's
different
possible.
markets. I was at a sort of an antique store, not flea market, above a flea market, but not a full-blown antique store. And I was talking about plates, and this fellow said, "Oh, I know somebody who's got a bunch of plates. I'll put you in touch with him." Well, we did some text messages back and forth. Well, this guy had some okay plates, maybe $5 plates at retail.
Right.
Well, he's got them up on eBay for $19.95,
Oh,
and he just leaves them there.
Hmm.
And sure enough, somebody says, "Oh, I want to get a plate because I went to Montana, or
right.
Right.
I did this, or I did that," or,
And he's selling them.
and he's selling them.
Hmm.
So there's different markets for different things.
That's an interesting situation.
Well, that's a
Hmm.
cool thing. I collect a little bit of blue glass. I have some blue glass up here.
Yeah. you do.
That's pretty much my own
And then
collection.
everything in every aisle of Hobby Lobby.
Yeah. But I've never really collected anything. I've always loved license plates too. We have a lot of bars around here that were decorated completely in license plates. That one Liquid Garage we went to,
Well, yeah,
They
it
had
had
license
some
plates.
in there. Yep.
I'd almost want to do it on our tiki bar outside. I
Mm.
think that would be a neat
Sure.
thing.
Add it
do
to
for
the list
top.
of the things you would like to do with the tiki bar.
But I
For
love the
sure.
license plate. Is there anything else that you collect? You had some cars at one point. I remember you
Had
saying.
some cars at one point. I've had some interesting cars. I had here's one. I won't ask you to go look it up right now, but a Fiat Multipla.
Fiat Multipla. Hold on.
Multipla.
Fiat Multipla.
How do you spell it? Multipla?
I'm sure Google will figure it out.
Multipla?
Fiat Multipla.
The engine was light enough that without the oil in it, I could pick it up in one hand.
Really?
What year was
Wow.
this Fiat?
It's mid 60s.
Okay.
Draco's joining us. He said, "Hey y'all,
1960s
good to
Fiat
see
Multipla.
y'all." And Howard can't stay. Been a rough 3
Oh,
days.
okay.
So
Almost looks
he's
very similar
here.
to like a small little VW bus.
Yes.
Oh, look at that.
Pretty cool.
So
Did it
big-
have
Bigger than an Isetta.
so
Bigger
opened
than a bread
opened
basket.
up like an Isetta
No,
from the front?
no,
No,
it had
it almost looked
side
like it.
doors on it. But
Oh, it does have side doors. Yep.
From the front, it looks like. But it seats as many as you can stuff in there.
Yeah.
Like a clown car.
But it very, very common.
3-cylinder, I bet.
It was actually a 4.
Okay.
Did you drive
It was
it?
a tiny 4.
Did you drive it?
No,
No, I just
I-
put it in his pocket and carried it around.
I have purchased more projects that I have sold for significantly less than I paid for.
The case.
Yeah.
There's a segue into into our other topic. Oh my goodness, isn't that true? See, that's what I'm trying to avoid right now is getting the project that I already have it, but no, that one's paid for itself in spades.
Yeah.
Raquel for sure. But yeah.
So did you finish any projects?
Wow.
Did you
Itty-
have any that you
itty bee going
successfully
hard.
finished? The hard questions.
None of the customs.
Tonight on Dateline,
None of the
Itty B
customs
asks
that
more
I've
questions.
I'm sorry, what was that?
None of the customs that I've worked, but they've gone on to good homes,
Oh, okay.
and I've made sure that they.
So
did some good things.
did you used to tinker back in the day?
I did, but I'm not highly mechanical.
Okay.
I used to hang around with a couple guys. And one of them had the company van. The other one's father owned a service station, so he'd been around mechanical stuff. And I was the tour director.
Oh,
So when they'd say, "Here's where we want to go," we'd go off and visit with people and see stuff. And I had a Fordson tractor for a while that I actually rode to work one day.
oh. Hopefully work wasn't that far.
You can go far in a tractor.
It was a good distance.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fun.
The times have changed, and moving into an apartment now, they're not real pleased.
They're gonna shy away from tractors.
Listen, even the HOA gives you crap for having cars out in front of your house, and it's a
Sure.
car.
This is true.
So you can only imagine a tractor in front of your house wouldn't probably bode well.
Well, I remember in our last interview with you, you said that you loved to drive.
Yes.
And I'm sure you've probably driven cross country.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Many times.
Many times.
So when you say that you were the tour director, you were taking these people on tours.
We'd go on adventures over the weekends.
Yeah.
So Howard was the wheels
Yep.
and know how to get there,
Right.
and they were the other guys. is what he's saying.
They
I
were-
think,
they
right?
were they were planning the party.
You were the
Yep.
plan. You were the planner. Here's where we're going, guys. Here's how we're going to get there. Here's what I'll just get you there. Where'd you want to go? Okay, I'll get you there.
A couple friends of mine had had cross-country off-road motorcycles,
Okay.
and they wanted to go run a particular section of what had been at one point an international course. And one fellow had a Wonder Bread milk truck
Oh,
that he had, a Wonder Bread bakery truck
Bakery
that he
truck,
had
yeah.
converted over, and a trailer. And they would drive to the start spot, and they'd unload everything, and they'd say, okay, at 12 o'clock, be at this point. And I was Cookie.
Okay.
So I would drive to the spot, get everything all laid out, and they'd show up, plus or minus lunchtime, and we'd have lunch, and then they'd go off and ride for the rest of the day, and we'd meet up again. And go out
And so
for dinner.
Howard was the wheelman. That was his
Everything on
job.
time.
Get the stuff to the next spot.
so if there was a bank robbery, you would have been the guy in
He
the
probably
getaway
would have been
car.
the getaway guy.
Oh, you had to mention the bank robbery.
No, but there was a
Should we
story.
blur do we need to blur your picture here, Howard, just to make sure that there's well, there we go. We blurred it.
It's
for
already kind of blurred. There was a story about your first car that you wanted to share with us. It was a 1941 Plymouth
Special deluxe
Special Deluxe.
4-door.
That's when they
Four-door.
had cool names for cars. Everything had a super deluxe, super mega deluxe. The sports mega deluxe.
So you said you got that in 1967.
67. Yeah.
So it was a 26-year-old car. And this was supposed to be your first car.
Right.
And what happened with that?
Did
Did you pick it out? You picked it out.
I picked it out.
Okay.
My father said if you could buy it, if you could find a car for $50, I'll pay for it. And I searched all through dealer lots. And it was part of the way I got to know license plates. Was I was spending a lot of time looking at license plates on vehicles
Right.
and dealer plates and whatnot. And I found this one. It wasn't $50. It was $55. But it had a brand new exhaust system on it. So we bought that. And we did some work on it.
And was your
Huge,
dad mechanically inclined then?
My dad was was much more of a thinker. He was actually when I was born, he was a weatherman.
Oh, really? Oh, no wonder why. No wonder why you continued. Hey, it's 50 degrees in Greeley, Colorado.
And he actually drove that. My mother, who was 5'2", never did drive that one. Although
Oh.
she always drove standards. And but it was a nice car to be able to work on because it was so high off the ground. We actually dropped the transmission in it.
Wow.
And the way you do that is you unhook the transmission, back it up a little bit, and drop it on your chest,
Oh, geez.
and then set it aside,
Right. Roll it off.
drag it out.
Pray that you have a lung that you can still breathe out of.
Plenty of room in the back. I recarpeted it with some industrial carpeting that one of the stores had decided they weren't going to use anymore. So
So you made
Pulled
it
the
your
seats up.
own
That's
then. You made it your
Utilizing
own.
the materials that are available.
yep,
And then what happened, Howard?
I was delayed through all faults of my own. I was delayed in getting my license.
Okay. So you never got to really
I
drive it?
never really got to drive it.
And you wound up selling it then?
Yep.
Oh my goodness. So what was your actual daily driver first vehicle then?
Daily driver first vehicle was a 55 Pontiac Chieftain station wagon
Okay.
That's a good choice.
That's not bad.
with 4 cracked windows.
Mhm.
Oh.
The side windows were all cracked.
Standard.
And it had a special airless paint job from Sears.
Oh,
Sears, nothing but the best.
A quart of Sears house paint
mhm,
in bright red
yep.
and a 3-inch brush.
Perfect.
That's all you need.
That's
Oh
all you
my
need.
Goodness.
People worry about orange peel, not with the Sears Airless.
So let me
racing
ask you
stripes.
this, because you just said a 1955. What was it?
Pontiac Chieftain.
Pontiac
Station
Chieftain.
wagon.
Okay. And this one was like, wow, great.
Yeah.
Now, at the time, were you like, this is a cool car?
Yeah.
Or were you like, eh?
Well, it was
Well, it was a wagon, so I'm sure that was a little bit of a, but at the same time, it was a wagon.
but Pontiac's head
Yes,
lit up.
that's right. If you were
Turned
gonna
the
have a
lights
station
on.
wagon, to have the chief on the hood ornament lighting
That's the
up,
one.
that's the one to get.
Because I've always wondered that, I mean, like we're driving new age cars now. What about, I mean, and I doubt 50 years from now, these cars, like my 2018 Equinox, is not going to be in a museum somewhere.
I always thought that was funny too, because I had kids. I remember as a kid, there were people like, "Oh man, my car's a classic." I'm like, that's a 78 Datsun, blah blah blah.
Right.
But what's crazy is that they actually have become classics. There are some cars that you would have never thought. Who would have thought the Pinto would be considered a cool classic car? But they are.
Well, I went from that car to a 63 Studebaker
Mm-hmm.
station wagon
Okay.
You liked the wagons.
with the retractable top.
Okay.
Oh,
So for those that haven't seen one, the rear window went down into the tailgate. The tailgate folded down so that you had all that
Mhm.
flat space. But then there was also a handle, and you took the rear portion of the roof and shoved it forward.
Hmm.
So you could, if you were brave, stand a refrigerator up.
Right.
Wow.
I think was it GMC or Pontiac? Was it the Aztec or something? They tried to bring that thing back, where the top of the vehicle slid forward and you could put like a palm tree in there. And it was a SUV, but it had a retractable roof on it.
So
Yeah.
now at the time, did you think, wow, this is a really cool car?
Well, it was really cool because nobody in town had one.
Okay. So it was
Check
unique
this
that
out.
way.
And Studebaker had gone out of business
Yeah.
5 years earlier. So it was what might be called an orphan car,
Yeah.
but it had really nice contemporary, even by today's standards.
Sure.
Great standards.
So you grew up in what era then? The 60s?
I was born in the 50s, grew up in the 60s.
Okay, so you were driving age in the 60s. So when you were driving and people were rolling around in 57 Chevys, were you looking at them like this is just their car, or were you looking at them like, wow, like living through that? I mean, we can look at that stuff now and be like, wow, that's such a neat looking car. Look at the design. This one is frothing at the mouth looking at these cars.
In the 60s, those cars were not as desirable because they were old. So kids were scapping them up for nothing. My mom tells me stories of buying her 57 Chevy for like $58.
So when did it start? When did the 50s become collectible cars? Do you remember?
Well, it's been bumpy.
Yeah.
And the problem is that they have to go from being day-to-day cars
Mhm.
to sort of out of favor cars.
Mhm.
And then they come back into favor and then become considerably more valuable. I've seen, but it could take 20 years
Yeah.
to do that.
A great example is the trend that's going on that's huge right now is we've gone through where 60s trucks was a big thing, like your C10 you dream about. And we've now gone into where the desirable trucks that are out now, right now, currently, are the hot finds, are they called them the square body Chevys and Fords that we back 10 years ago we looked at. Who wants that thing? The lawn guy wouldn't mind having it, but now it's a desirable truck because it's harder to find a 60s truck that isn't even in really bad shape for $10,000-$20,000.
So that's what
But
makes
now
it rare.
now the 70s trucks are going up in price because that's all that's really left. And I've even noticed, this is interesting, like for me,
Oh, we just saw this.
in
yeah.
high school, the mini truck was the big hot ticket, is having 80s, 70s, and 80s. What of the time was the first mini trucks. Those are now making. Just recently saw high school kids it's coming back.
Yes.
So trends make their rounds, and those kids will probably in the next 5 or 10 years will become the next, hopefully, ones looking for the 60s and 70s and 50s cars, where that's where the progression of the hobby continues.
Mhm.
Well, I have a 2022 Buick Encore. It's an all-wheel drive. It's a nice car.
Mhm.
And it was a dealer leftover. So I bought it in June. But it's not really what I want. And today I'm driving a Hyundai full-size SUV,
Mhm.
and great for $58,000, except it has push-button transmission.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And when I sit at the traffic light for more than 12 seconds,
Shuts
the
off.
engine shuts off.
Mhm.
Yeah, our Jeeps too. Our Jeeps are the same way.
And it's like, I would much rather have something with a carburetor
Mhm.
and no computer.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's amazing is that car you're talking about, you're driving, there's nothing hooked up. There's no manual things hooked up. Like the steering is all drive-by-wire. The transmission is the reason why it's push button. It's because as you're pushing a button, there's a computer signal that goes to a box and tells the transmission to switch gears.
Mhm.
I mean, there's hydraulic movement and stuff like that, but you're not manually moving anything in the transmission at all. It's all electronic. Even the steering. That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
And braking and all that stuff.
The real crazy part about the steering is they have it set on for you have to be in the middle of the lane.
Right.
And if I start to move over,
Beep, 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 beep.
plus it reduces the volume on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Pay attention,
Then
sir.
it yanks the car back over.
It automatically self-corrects.
I had a 2018. Was it an 18?
I don't remember.
I want
I've been through so
It
many
might have
cars
been
for
a
you.
17. 2017 Chevy Malibu
Never
I bought
happy.
off the showroom floor. This thing was pristine, beautiful,
Mhm.
decked out,
Yep.
fully loaded. We bring it home,
Had to have it.
and I did have to have it. It was red. It was gorgeous. I loved it.
Had to have
Stopped working though. Push button.
Hmm.
I got stuck so many times, and I'm like, why am I paying for this car? In any case, I digress. The lane thing freaked me out. One time he drove.
Oh, I had a great time with it. I would just
He
let it
drove
drive.
us for like a good 6 miles without touching the steering wheel.
Yeah, I just let it bounce off the yellow lines. You had to make sure the lines were nice and clean, but I just let it bing, boom,
And we were
bing.
able to drive for like 6
Yeah, it
miles,
was great.
hands free.
Sure.
Full
Nuts.
giant S turns.
Turns, yeah.
I'm just letting the
It
car.
was
I'm like,
nuts.
but look at, there's a GMC truck out now. Well, there's a bunch of vehicles where that's the selling point, is you can turn it on and then it'll just drive for you.
So I'm guessing your thoughts are
No thanks.
no. You prefer having the older car.
I would prefer to have an older vehicle.
Yeah.
I see the goodness in some of the new things.
Sure.
If you look at the federal government's, the Department of Transportation's website on something called ITS, Intelligent Traffic Systems, what they're going to have are little transponder antennas at the side of the road.
Mm.
And it's going to talk to your Jeep. And Johnny's behind you. It's going to talk to that one.
Yep.
It's going to talk to the one in front. It's going to talk to the one that's alongside on the other side. And it will know everything that's going on. And if there's a slowdown, it will automatically apply the brakes
Mm.
so that you won't have these rear end collisions.
Right.
Because they have determined the rear end collisions cost so many dollars and
yeah.
so many lives
Yeah.
that maybe it's a good idea.
Right.
It also means that you can deal with traffic volume. So if you come from a stopped point, even at a traffic light, first car pulls out, second car pulls out, my little screen goes, the car in front of you has left.
Yeah.
It makes noise. And it's got
Move
the little
up so we can all get through
off
the
your
light.
phone.
How about that?
note. What it will do is it will do a NASCAR style start
Right.
where everybody pulls out at exactly the same time.
Oh, that would be
And
fantastic.
keep the distances.
Yeah.
Okay, see,
there's-
now that I'm on board with.
So, there's goodness,
Yeah.
and there's what's going to happen when the electromagnetic pulse takes up
Mm-hmm.
the power grid.
And then we're people will just be sitting in their car going, how come my car don't go?
Yep.
And I'll go flying by them in my petrol powered carbureted vehicle going, I told you.
What do you think? What's your dream car right now then? If you could have anything.
Oh,
It'd be hitting hard.
Oh my gosh. He's taking some time. He's mulling this over.
no, I would go with a hybrid.
Mm.
So not the classic car route.
Well, I'd love to have a classic car. But,
Well, that's so.
But if I
What would
did-
be your classic car choice?
oh,
Maybe I should have specified.
You're talking to a gentleman it says, did you see what it says by his name right here? Solutionist.
Yes.
A solutionist doesn't look at an old car as a solution to anything other than boredom.
No, happiness.
I'd like Johnny Cash's car.
One piece at a time.
What
And it
was
wouldn't cost
his-
him a dime.
for real.
Do you not know the song?
No, clearly I'm clueless right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize.
I wanted to see Johnny catch on to it. I think he would.
It's a 41, 52, 53, 55, 56, 57, 58 automobile. It's a 61, 62, 63, 64.
Is that how he sings it?
Yeah.
Oh.
He worked at the plant,
Oh.
and every day he would take something home.
Oh.
And at
He
one
wor-
point,
He worked for GM.
he finally had enough pieces.
That's right. He had one headlight on one side and two on the other. One tail fin.
I don't know the song. We're not doing a
How do
karaoke
we
session
not?
right
Oh,
now.
Jeepers creepers.
So truly then, what's your dream car?
What would it be? Oh,
So you haven't put thought into this. So when you were talking about a hybrid, you're talking about now, like a car nowadays,
like a
brand new
nowadays
car.
The thing is, there's so many wonderful things out there that, I mean, it's tough. It's really tough to say. You know, there's
This is a guy who collects license plates. If he was you know what my dream license plate is? This is the one. And then he goes, no, this is the one. You know what would be really cool with this one and this one? This one. I get it. Listen. That's the hardest. You just ask the ultimate a true car guy or gal. I'm not gonna true car guy. There's like 80, 20,000 different. I would love to have them all.
put a little bit of cash in my pocket,
Yeah.
and drive me past some lots. I
Yeah.
will buy something today.
I'll take that one. Give me that
Well,
one.
I would do the
But
same thing.
I would actually like that
but
one
I
in
know
green.
what my go-tos would be.
But I bet you your go-tos today versus 5 years ago or even 10 years ago aren't the same.
No, because the 49 Merc has always been what I'd want.
But I bet if we
In a
were to
car,
really look at
C10 in
had
the
I
truck.
had you maybe like if there was a way to like take your mental picture and draw that mental picture, your tastes are totally different now than they were even then.
Maybe, but I still gravitate back to that body style.
See, she's in love with the 49 Merc.
I am.
Yeah,
I grew up in a 51 Ford two-door.
right. So
So,
yeah.
that's like the standard household car for
yeah,
us.
I've shown her. I'm like, I mean, it's not, but it's pretty close. They share a lot of similarness, but not the same.
No.
I don't know that there's any one car that I would own forever.
Mm.
There are lots of them that I'd like to have for a while.
Yeah, see, I'm in the same boat.
Mhm.
As much as I have, like that's why I say to you when I'm thinking of what I'd like to find. I've said, hey, I'd love to own a 20s, 30s car, but then as I'm looking, I go, oh yeah, but boy, that 50 Ford is pretty sick. Oh man, I still love the 50s Chevys. There's some I just can't stop
Good
loving them.
news. We have one.
I know, but it's not. I have a 4-door that's in really bad shape, but I'll see a 2-door, like a Fleet Line, and I'll go, oh, I love the way the back of that slopes
and you've always
down.
loved a 57 Chevy, you said.
I did when I first got into cars. I really loved the 57 Chevy. I loved everything about it. But what's funny, if you were to now put a 57 in a 55 Chevy and say, John, you could pick one, I would take a 55 because I just love the lessness of it. I used to love all the Dagmeyers and the fins and the chrome, but the simplicity of the 55 styling that still looks so cool. And then I go, oh, 56 is pretty cool too. And a 58 and 59 is not bad.
Whoa.
And then, oh, you know what? If we're going to do that, gosh, it would be cool to do like, go back to 37, 36, 34.
We don't
25.
have enough room. I will say we don't have enough room.
That's the problem. There's so many good ones.
Mr. Dana Baldwin is commenting. He said, 71 CUDA. In 5 minutes, my dream car will be different.
Exactly. Yeah. Because in the moment you could go, oh my gosh.
Well, I owned a 71 CUDA convertible.
Oh, really?
That I bought from the original owner.
Man.
And I had this car for 3 months. And I lived up on the 3rd floor in Worcester, Massachusetts. And I came home one night, late in the evening after being out, got upstairs, and I heard a noise.
Uh-oh.
And everybody that owns a car knows what their car sounds like when it starts.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody started mine and drove away with it.
Oh.
And I never saw it again.
From that point forward, did you then lock all your doors?
It was a convertible.
Oh, so you had that?
Yeah.
It wouldn't have mattered, I guess.
You know how secure those convertible tops are.
Yeah. Mine is secure.
It really? If you wanted to get into it, you could get into it. Listen, if a thief wants your thing,
they're going to take it.
Thief gonna take your thing.
regardless.
Yeah,
Well,
for sure.
And in the mid-'70s, I had a job where I drove automobiles for a living. So the snowbirds would call the agency that I worked for and say, would you take my car to Miami Shores? And I would get in the car and I would drive down to Miami Shores and I'd drop it off for the bellman to take.
Oh, man.
Or if somebody was on a corporate relocation,
Hmm.
it was less expensive for the company to have me drive it all the way to the airport, pull up in San Jose and park it in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And as the family came off the plane, hand them their own keys.
Wow.
Because that way they had their own car. They knew exactly what they were going to do. There were enough changes going on in their lives.
Right.
And having to deal with a rental car wasn't going to be the thing.
And that was low miles back then. The cross-country trip added to the odometer.
So you've driven all over the United States. Have you driven internationally?
Just Canada and Mexico, not Europe.
No, not
No,
over there.
I have been overseas and I have ridden overseas, but I've not been allowed to drive.
I have in the last month seen more cars with the right side driver's side.
Yeah. Are they, let me ask you this. Do they seem to be, are they older cars or newer cars?
One was newer and it was a very small car.
Mm-hmm.
It almost looked Fiat-ish, but I don't know if it was.
So more than likely it was probably a Japanese car, because a lot of kids are importing Nissans, Datsuns. Wow, John. Nissans, Toyotas, because of they want the right-hand drive because they're exotic and cool, and there's less they can get, because in Japan you can only have so many miles on an engine, and then they have to get rid of their car. So a lot of times the old days, like I could buy a Japanese motor with low miles on it, short block, long block, for super cheap, that was sent from Japan. But now they're actually sending the whole cars over because I guess some of the restrictions have changed. But that's what's happening. A lot of kids are importing.
Well, the cars are just old enough.
Yeah.
That they have to meet a separate set of tariffs and things like that.
Yep.
And there are importers who are advertising, some of them on Facebook.
Yeah.
And there's also a company out of Brazil that's selling Volkswagen vans.
Yes. And they just stopped in 90 or 2000 something producing VW Bugs. It wasn't that long ago that Brazil was still making what looked like the 60s VW Bug.
Really?
where it
in a
was
little
all.
factory down there or
Oh
something?
yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Volkswagen approved?
and a lot of them
Yes.
VW approved, and a lot of those are getting now, like you said, they're brokers now that are shipping them to the United States.
We live
For money.
living here in this country. We believe, or used to believe, Ford, GM, Chrysler were the thing.
That's it.
Yeah.
The reality is Toyota has 12% of the
Mhm.
worldwide market.
Wow.
Volkswagen has 6%.
Yeah.
GM, even with their Chinese connections and whatnot, because they're really big in China. You buy a mid-sized Buick in China, it becomes a limousine. Now they pick me up at the airport. They're only at 3% worldwide.
Wow.
Wow.
So lots of innovations going on in lots of places.
For sure, for sure.
It's neat to be at this stage in the game and watch how it's all progressed up until this point. I don't feel like the cars now, I mean, there's probably some unique cars now that may be looked upon as, hey, that was cool. But I mean, I don't feel like any of them are really standing out, at least.
Well, I mean, you can take a look at, here's what's happening. For instance, Ford has really doubled down on the muscle car, the Mustang platform, and is doubling down on it and is getting crazier and crazier. I've heard recently Dodge is now going to possibly pull out of muscle car and maybe have one or two selections where they were going hard. Chevrolet is killing Camaro. They're not going to do that anymore. So Corvette will be the only sports car type thing.
So maybe a little bit more hard to come by will increase the value.
So that'll happen, but it's sad to see that happening because American muscle cars were coming back, and but again, the economy is tough right now and it's hard to spend money. But Ford's like, who cares? Let's make a quicker, faster Mustang, and they're doing it. It's amazing, like 1,000 horsepower type stuff. It's unbelievable. Yeah. So. Yeah. So there'll be stuff that from this time that will become
classic at some point.
Collectory and stuff. I never thought I'd see a Fox body Mustang be valuable, and holy cow, it's hard to find them. Yeah.
Excuse me, would you give me $400?
Yeah, if you were lucky, you could get $400. Now it's a race car. Guys are looking at, shoot, if I could find me a Fox body for $1,000. Still got the 5.0 in it and put a turbo on it. Let's go racing.
There's also a big market for older cars converted to electric.
Yes. Yes. Huge.
Because you take it's turning out that because there are so few replacement parts for the electric cars, that the only thing of any value after you have even a minor accident is the engine or the drivetrain components.
For sure.
And there are people who are making a very, very good living rebodying.
Wow.
Those drivetrains.
Yeah. I think in California, there's a company that strictly, that's what they do, is they take old classic cars and drop high performance electric motors in them. And it is a huge market, like you're saying. And the beauty, like I agree with you, the beauty of it, unlike if you bought a Tesla for probably the same money, right? Tesla's got restrictions. They don't have as many parts to fix, and they will only warranty so many years. And then you're kind of on your own. Good luck trying to find that part for a car that has only been out for a short period of time. But you could take 66 VW that is parts are super available for very inexpensive. Remove the gas engine, put in an electric, and you've got a really cool electric vehicle that looks like a classic. And you can get parts for it. It's awesome.
It's genius. It is genius.
We'll have to be creative with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll work.
All right, Howard, when are we going to start opening up our own electric to conversion?
Well, I saw this little shop over on Main Street. A nice little 3-bag.
Yeah.
The beginnings of Jalopy Garage.
Right? It'd be tough, though. I sure like the way gas and oil and all that stuff smells and tastes.
Speaking of Jalopy Garage, and I will segue to this because just yesterday, in fact, we went to go look at a project car locally that Johnny is interested in. Of course, we're not making any decisions just yet, but there may be something new happening in Jalopy Garage very soon.
Yeah, we've got the feelers out for sure, and
we're going to be checking with our Detroit guys and see if we have any leads
Yep.
on some cool stuff up
Yep.
there. So
but
we'll be talking
a new
with them
project
next
is definitely in the possibilities. We did go look at again in the dream age of what I'm trying to acquire, and it's a possibility. It's a very good possibility.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a lot of good.
Yeah,
a lot of good.
It does.
So it'll be cool.
So stay tuned for that. We are.
Are you wrapping it up?
Well, we're at an hour and 15 minutes already.
Wow.
Yeah. This was a good one.
Well, Howard, we sure appreciate you coming and hanging out with us and sharing car stuff with us and your insight on. Hopefully, we talked enough and touched on your specific skill set of a solutionist.
Yes.
And the thing I love about that job, or the thing that you do, is there's really no limits to it. You could utilize it for helping just about anybody and
all walks of life.
So, if you're, I don't know if this is something you do other than bigger businesses, but if you're a small business guy or an entrepreneurial guy, Howard Pierpont's website's available, right? And definitely grab the books that he's written. Some good information as far as, they're always a solution to a problem. There's no no's, or whatever you want to call.
There's a new book coming out in July.
That's right. A new launch.
And is this a self book, or are you also collaborating as well on that one?
This one's going to be a collab. I've got two others that are in process.
Cool.
What's the name of this one?
Messages from Thought Leaders.
Oh, okay.
Be slightly expanded chapters.
Cool.
I was working on it this afternoon over at the hotel.
So it's in the works. Very cool.
And we're in good progress moving forward. So we'll take a little bit out of the first two books.
Well, if you need any help with some solutions, I know a guy that can help you with any of the stuff you got.
If you need to give examples of like people with problems, let us know.
We got problems. We don't have problems. We're
figuring it out.
Yeah.
But things change constantly.
They do.
We need to work through those changes. And if I could just find somebody to take my inheritance of whalebone corsets that my grandfather left,
okay,
I'd be really pleased.
Right on. So there you go. Why are you giggling? Do you know what he's talking about?
No.
Why wouldn't you say? What are you talking about?
He said corsets, and I can only imagine it's women's corsets.
Right.
Yeah.
But they used whalebone.
Whalebone, which is what they used for the ribbing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's got a whole selection of them,
along with the license plates.
And he's just looking for someone who wants to model them, or to also.
What are you proposing, Howard? Are they in my size? I'll do anything.
Well, they're corsets, so they're pretty much in anybody's size. One size fits all.
Ooh,
but everything goes through changes.
Yes.
Back in 1912, my grandmother's brother was a gaslighter.
Okay.
And we use the term gaslighter.
Right, totally different than what it is.
His job as a 12-year-old was to work a 3-block area where he went over and literally turned the gas on, and he had an extended pole with a flame on it, and he lit the light.
Really?
And then went on through.
At 12 years old?
At 12 years old.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Child labor was legal then. Wasn't a problem.
I could barely get my 12-year-old to take out the garbage.
Well, there you go. This is another great example of if we could just sometimes go back and learn from that, which is that 12-year-old who was given a job and a responsibility, probably grew up to go on to do great things, and probably wasn't counting on others to do for him. So there's some great things we can learn from the past as well. Let's not erase all of it.
He had to do it every evening and then go back in the morning and turn them off.
That's right.
Wow.
Not the gaslighting we talk about today.
No.
Not at all. Not at all.
No, we've got Bob Frizz joining us
There
here.
he is. Shaboom.
And did you see what he said? I have 20 project cars for rare cars for sale.
Okay.
For sale.
For sale.
Well,
And-
Bob.
and every one of them can be put on a trailer
Yeah.
and shipped here.
Yep. I think that's what Johnny's banking on.
Well, I'm hoping. Here's what I'm hoping. Again, Bob is a great person who has found many cool projects
cool
and
deals.
done cars. And if anybody probably has a know of how to do something, right? So taking your, going to someone with some knowledge, I thought I'd pick Bob's brain on like, hey, this is kind of what I'm searching for. And it's what I'm looking for. Maybe you can point me in the right direction, or, any suggestions of a place to start, and I think I'm going to get some great advice. Those Detroit guys know their stuff.
They do.
They are in the Motor City. So that's why I haven't pulled the trigger quick, even though like you said, we went on Sunday and saw something. And I'm like, this could be it. I could take that. It's not very far from my house. But
I've learned that if you push and you make the decisions rapidly, and sometimes you have to make a decision because you need.
Yes.
But if you look around, if you put the feelers out there, if you say, hey, who has? Who knows? Well, I don't have, but I know somebody.
Right.
And they have something parked in their yard.
Yeah.
They've got something.
It's the connections. Yeah.
See, in my past, Howard, I've been a person who doesn't do that. I've always had people who've offered and said, hey, man, if you ever need help, or you ever, let me know.
Hit me up if you need.
And I've always been the person that's like, I don't want to be the person that takes advantage of somebody's kindness and is offering. It's like so awesome that someone would offer. So I've never been that person, but ADB is like, you need to start taking people up on their offer. They're not doing it because they,
because you freely help people.
Sure,
well, and that's
I
just
do the
good
same.
Coming back to you.
So you're right. That's my plan. Is my thought is I really want to give opportunity. Maybe there is something out there that is better than what I'm seeing, or maybe it's not. Maybe this is the answer, which is I've put the feelers out. I've looked, and the one I'm looking at is that's a good one. It's going to work for what I want to do. But what if it's not, and the good one is out there waiting?
And what if something's out there and it's not quite, it needs a little bit of something, but that person knows the person that can do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. See?
Yeah. It's networking.
That's right.
So glad Howard showed up and be with the solutions to my tempting to want to just move quickly.
You have no idea how much I want to go to Detroit.
Oh, so drive.
We'll see you there.
Week. It'd only take you a couple days.
If our carry-on was a little bit not full of shirts,
I hear
inside.
there's a party at Shaboom's Saturday night at Autorama. So we're excited.
Well, we're excited to be there, and we can't wait and to be ready because we're going to bring our podcast equipment, and we plan to do hopefully a podcast, or at least record something in our trip in Detroit. So
yes.
Howard, again, thank you so much for showing up and being on Sketchy Live, the podcast. Again, thank you so much for the incredible gift, all the gifts that you've given us, and the time you spent. And again, just like before, that you've been a person that's been on Sketchy Live from the beginning and has been a supporter of us trying to do this silly thing and grow it. We really appreciate that support. And, again, as I said, in the last time you were on a podcast, in the moments where I was like, I wonder if anybody's watching, I would always be counting on, it's Howard Pierpont. It's 2 degrees in Greeley, Colorado. And I go, poor Howard, but at least he's on. Somebody's watching. So it's always been great.
We have a lot of faithful people who have been a part of this with us for so long. And it's the reason why we show up on Monday nights. Howard being part of it.
Yep.
This is why we're here. This is why we're trying to put out some content, something that maybe you guys can learn from or find amusing or find beneficial. And
this is a great example of what we continue to plan to do with the Sketchy Live, is to have people like Howard on and people like you that are out there watching, and we want you to be a part of it too. So Shaboom, be ready. Uncle Larry, all you guys down there in Detroit, we hope to pick your brain and get you on and talk to you because you've got stuff to share too. Look at all the amazing stuff that we just heard from Howard. Hopefully you've gained some knowledge and some insight on some things in your life, the things you can apply and move to, that there are solutions to situations.
yes. And
whalebone corsets.
If you will be at Autorama, please stop by. We are going to be at the booth with Shaggy, and Little Daddy is going to have his stuff set
Hopefully
up as
they'll
well.
let us set up.
Yeah, hopefully that's where we're still going to be.
Yeah. Who knows?
Come by and see us. Come hang out with the Southeast Michigan Hot Rodders gang as well. They're all going to be floating around
They've
too.
got a great website too.
Yes. Super cool people.
Just a great little community of people, and they just all help each other. It's wonderful. Head on over to johnnyjalopy.com. We, even though are leaving next week, we can still raise some money for this trip. So feel free to order. We still have hats, we have beanies, we have t-shirts, we have stickers. We've got it all over there. So check it out. We appreciate you guys. And I think that is going to do it.
What a great podcast. It's been fun hanging out with you on another Monday night in the books. And we so much appreciate you. JohnnyJalopy.com. Head on over there, get some cool stuff. Another Funny Monday. We did it. Yay! Crowd goes wild. What a fun time. Howard, thank you so much.
Thank you.
ADB, great job.
Yes.
And we will see you again next Monday on
Until
Sketchy
then,
Live. Stay sketchy. We'll see you.
Bye.